good. Obviously, Joshua Povetkin open workout. What did you make of him then? Sort of signs of him, he looked quite light on his feet actually, just in terms of the short amount he was out there today.
Who, Povetkin or Joshua?
Joshua.
Yeah. I mean, he looked well, looked in great shape. He's a physical specimen, isn't he? A real athlete. So, I'm sure he's trained meticulously. He mentioned some different things they did differently, so it's good. They're not just going through the motions. They're approaching every training camp, gearing their training around specific, tactics or adjustments they need to make each opponent. And he knows this is a real fight. Vladimir Klitschko's side, this is probably his toughest opponent. It's a dangerous opponent. But one we expect Joshua to win. I think he's coming at the right time for him. If it was a few fights ago, before the Klitschko, who knows? It'd have been a difficult fight for him because he wouldn't have had the experience that he's got now. But I think now he can. He's gone up a few notches, and I think it's a fight he can dominate. I think it's a tough fight though. I don't see him knocking Povetkin out. I think it's a 12-round fight.
Do you think there's a pressure to knock him out? Say, he's working on tactical things. You can see that he's putting the effort and the focus into that. Do you think, from in terms of a fan's point of view, do you think there's a pressure to get the knockout? I know he's kind of started his career off bowling people out of there. The last two fights have been a little bit, not frustrating. I think he's basically done a very good job. But do you think there's that pressure to kind of get him out of there?
You can't knock everyone out. He's world champion now. He's on a different level. He's world champion fighting guys, world-class opponents that want to be world champion, and they're proven tough guys. He's never been stopped. He's been beaten once by Vladimir Klitschko. You know what I mean? Joseph Parker was an undefeated world champion. You don't just go in and knock these guys out. If you do, great. But you certainly got to be thinking, I'm going to beat this guy over 12 rounds, and if knockout comes, it comes. When you're early on in your career, you're fighting guys you're supposed to be. Generally, you can knock a lot of those guys out. But once you become world champion, you hit a different level. Every fight there's a massive fight. You're not the hunter anymore. You're the hunted, and everyone's coming in, and every fight's a huge fight, and you're approaching it as a 12-round fight.
Do you think it's more about kind of the longevity of it, in terms of not taking big shots, taking a tactical approach, getting the win, and then obviously progressing on to the next fight? I've heard them talk about, obviously moving on to the next fight, but just not, taking big shots. If you look at someone like Floyd Mayweather, obviously didn't take a lot of punishment throughout his career. Is that kind of the approach that you've got to start taking when you get to the top?
I don't think so. I think you're world champion now. This is it. You visualise to get to a level and be involved in big fights. Well, these are them. This is it. This is where you want to get to. This is the now. This is your reign as heavyweight champion. There will be bigger fights even within that, as in the Wilder fight is obviously going to be a big fight. When it happens, the Fury fight's going to be a bigger fight when it happens. Probably bigger than, say, a Baby Miller fight. But these are all fights. These are world-class fighters. A lot of them undefeated that want to become world champion. This is your heavyweight reign. Every fight's the huge fight now. There is no next fight. There's just the fight that you're dealing with right now.
Yeah. And in terms of, obviously, you mentioned then Tyson Fury. Obviously, that looks like that fight's going to get announced next week. Officially, I think it's December 1st or December 8th. How do you see that fight panning out? I think the main concern for most people is that Tyson Fury is rushing back. Don't kind of blame him for obviously taking, it's a big payday for him, but do you think he can do the job over in Las Vegas or New York?
It's just the inactivity is a problem, isn't it? I don't know. I mean, he's had so long out of the ring, and then he's come back with two, glorified sparring sessions, really. On his day, Tyson Fury is the most skillful heavyweight in boxing, without a doubt. Most skillful. Wilder's the biggest puncher. Joshua's probably the most complete. Can do a bit of, can box, can fight on the inside. He's got a good jab. He's got great momentum in his career. He's been active. Then there's a few bogeymen. Yeah. And Povetkin's probably one of those. Dylan White's come back with a few good wins. The Park win was a great performance. He probably wants another crack at Joshua. Certainly wants a crack at one of the big world titles. So, the heavyweight division's really lighting up now. I think Joshua's kind of the man, but I think Wilder's probably just behind him, and then Fury was the man and wants to get back to being the man. So it's interesting times in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, and I just want to quickly finish off asking you about Khan. I know sort of the fight's come and gone and everything now. A little bit of criticism, particularly from Carl Fletcher around that performance, obviously last week. What was your sort of take on it? Just overall, I thought he did quite well actually in the final round. Thought he boxed quite well. So I was pretty, I thought it was a positive performance. But what's your sort of take on where he's at?
It depends what you're gauging it against. If you're gauging it against Amir Khan at his best, then you'd say he's not the fighter he was. If you're gauging it on the fact that he's been out of the ring, he's had one round in 3 years, he nearly got him out of there in the second round. If you had, you'd have said that was a great performance. Yeah, he got put down again, but he went the rounds. You can draw positives, but then other people say, well, you're clutching at straws. The reality is that guy wouldn't have gone 12 rounds with him a few years back. That guy wouldn't have had him down a few years back. He's had a long, hard career. He's been knocked out badly a few times. He got knocked out badly by Canelo. Over 2 years out of the ring. I don't know. I'm not sure. Do I think he beats Terence Crawford and these guys? Probably not anymore. And at one time, Amir Khan was one of the best welterweights in the world. Now, I think there's probably 10 guys that could beat him. Not saying they would beat him, but there's probably 10 guys that could beat him where you never would have said that a few years ago.
And you just mentioned then, just in terms of obviously the knockouts that Khan's had and the effect that essentially have a nice mindset. Just a final one. Obviously, Big David Price on this card on the weekend. In terms of obviously his career, where do you see that going? I know he's been to the well a couple of times and he's been knocked out, and obviously his mindset, he says that he's enjoying it. I know you spoke to him earlier. Where do you see, obviously, you're obviously closer to him than I am, but where do you see him, obviously performing on Saturday, and then potentially where he can go from there?
Well, the thing with David Price is he's technically a good boxer. He's a huge heavyweight. He can really, really bang. So he could beat most people, but could and would, two different things. And generally when he gets into the big fight, even though he did well last time with Macklin, as in he hurt him, eventually he got knocked out, and quite badly. He's been knocked out quite badly a few times. So if he was to get knocked out badly again, I would hope it would be the end, and I hope he would retire, from his health and everything else. But if he was to win, it puts him right back in there, doesn't it?
He just seems to have a draw, doesn't he, these days? You know what I mean? Obviously, in twilight of his career, he's a great storyteller.
He's a draw because he's so likeable.
Yeah.
Everyone's willing him on.
Yeah.
Because he's a good guy, isn't he? Everyone wants to see him do well.
Well, we wish him luck. Everyone else on the card as well. So, good talking to you, Matt Macklin. And,